Hi, this is Andrew. Thanks for joining me. This video covers installation of SSL on an Apache server running on Linux. So we're going to create a secure website using a self-signed certificate, and we're also going to redirect the default website to the self-signed certificate. That said, let's get started. We have right here, this is our Linux system with Apache installed, and if I look, systemctl status httpd, and we show that it's running. And over here I have I can access the website. I actually set up the DNS on my Active Directory server that this computer is pointing to resolve centos.andrew.local back to this IP address. It's the same if I were to go to this IP address, 172.16.123.161. I get to the same website, same exact website. I'm just using the name because that will help us out later on when we use the self-signed certificate. So first step is to install modSSL. That's the module that includes all of the SSL components that'll work with Apache. So it's simply, let's get back to where I was, and here I'm going to get this out of the way so we can work just here, and it is yum install mod underscore SSL. And it asks if we want to install it. Obviously that's what we're here for, so now it's installed. Now I can actually go in and look at some of the stuff. Now, first thing I'm going to do is actually go to the directory. There are a couple of directories where certificates can be. Really, we can put them anywhere, but we want to put them in a consistent place. We'll just point a folder to it. If I go here, I see there is a search directory in etcssl. If I go to etc pki tls, we have a certs directory and a private directory here. That's actually the one I'm going to use. There are other directions that recommend using other directories. I'll use these. I don't need to create anything. What I do need to do, I can do this a couple of different ways. I could do pieces of this one at a time, or I can do it all at once. I'm going to follow a website, do it all at once. So I can do open SSL, which is part of what got installed with modSSL. I'm going to say it is a request of type X509, and nodes is just saying we don't want to use a passphrase on it. Days is pretty self-explanatory. We will do 365. We're going to say we need a new key, and RSA 2048, which we could have done as a separate command, created the key on the server, and then it would have used it, but we're not going to bother with that. We're using the new key, RSA 2048. And then we're going to go key out, and this is where we want to say, let's put this key, let's put this key into this directory we have here. This is going to go into the private directory. So it is in etc pki tls private, and then we're going to give it a name, and it's going to be private key dot key. Well, actually, we'll call it private.key, and There's our private key. Now we also need to output our certificate dash out, and this is going to go into the search directory. So that's Etsy PKI TLS certs, and we're going to call this one cert.crt. Now it's going to start prompting us for some information. Some of this we can fill out. I can put US here. I don't need to put anything else until we get to common name. This is where I want it to match the name that I have on the server, which I created before as centos.andrew.local. This doesn't mean that the certificate is going to be accepted fully, but it means that the type of error it produces will be a little bit different. I don't need an email address, and there we go. We've created the certificate. So now the next step is we want to use the certificate. Now I don't have Nano installed on here. Maybe later on I will put that on here, but for now I'm just going to use VI, and we have Etsy HTTPD confd and SSL conf. Here's our SSL configuration. So what we need to do in here is just find the right stuff. There's some stuff we need to change. Listen 443 is already set up. We go down here and there's our virtual host for 443. We want to set the document root to be var www.html. That's where our default directory is. And I want to change server name to centos.andrew.local. Now, if I were just using IP addresses, I could have put IP addresses in both spots. I could have used the 123.161 address. But that's what we have there. Now I'll keep working my way down. The next critical thing I'm looking for is the defined location of those files that we just created. So server certificate. This is PKI TLS certs, and I called it cert. And then private key I called private.key. But the locations, I use these same locations. etc PKI TLS certs, etc PKI TLS private. That's the location where I put everything. So I'm going to exit out of this, save and quit, and I'm going to restart systemctl restart httpd, and that looks like it's working. Let's take a look. Now I refresh this, it stays at the same place, but if I type https:// I get an error message. But notice the type of error message is saying potential security risk ahead. So I'm going to say advanced, and it says it's an invalid security certificate. It's not trusted because it's self-signed. So that's what I was looking for. That's the difference. Not only is it saying, it says it's self-signed, but it is recognizing that the certificate was issued for centos.andrew.local, and that's the website I'm going to. Now, if I were to compare that to going to 172.16, 123, 161, obviously no error when I go to HTTP. If I go to https://172.16.123.161, this is going to give me a different error message. It's going to say Firefox does not trust this site because it uses a certificate that is not valid for this. This is where we're going to the IP address. The certificate is issued for that name. We could have issued the certificate for the IP address, but I wanted to show this, but eventually we can get there. It's just that, again, when we look at the error message, it is a different error message. The website is 172.16, and the certificate is for Andrew.local, CentOS Andrew.local. So it's a little bit different in terms of what it's showing us. Now, the next thing we want to do is actually create a redirection. So if we go to this website, the HTTP, the non-secure version, it will redirect to the secure version. So let's do that next. There are multiple ways to redirect a web page from HTTP to HTTPS. I'm going to use the virtual host method, and I'm going to create a separate configuration file. It'll load any configuration files in this directory, Apache. When it loads, we already have the SSL conf. I'm going to create another file that will have what we need. So I can see it easily in history. I'm going to go etc http d conf.d, and I could call this andrew.local.conf. I could call this anything. I'm going to call it non-ssl.conf. So this is the non-SSL website that will create the virtual hosts in. It's a blank file. No, there's nothing there. So what I need is insert. I'm going to do virtual host, and it looks very similar to what we saw in the SSL configuration file of virtual host. So this is going to be anything at 80, and then we're going to do server name, and this is CentOS.Andrew.local, and redirect is going to be, when you quote, and then we'll do quotes on https CentOS.Andrew.local close quotes, and then we need to close the virtual host. So there, virtual host, and that should do it. So what this is doing is saying on CentOS.Andrew.local, redirect to the secure website. So I'm going to do escape and right quit. And now I'm going to do another systemctl restart httpd. And that worked. So hopefully that loaded that non-SSL file. And if I do a refresh here on the HTTP version of the website, it redirects to HTTPS. So even here, it will redirect the IP address to that HTTPS website. Now if I go to Chrome, we'll give that one a try as well. And this is going to be CentOS.Andrew.local. Chrome really wants to search for things. So CentOS.Andrew.local, and it redirected. That's why it's saying not secure. So I select advanced and I say proceed, and now we're here. Again, same error. Now the errors are browser specific. So even though I'm on the same computer, different browsers are going to say, hey, I don't like this, something's not right. We could install the certificate on the browser. We could install the certificate on the computer, which would really work for a limited number of browsers. Issued to, issued by, that's our main concern. If we trusted CentOS.andrew.local, that would work. Later in the semester, we will actually create our own certificate authority in a domain that will allow us to issue certificates that are trusted by members of that domain. But this shows the installation of a self-signed certificate and the redirection to get it to go automatically to an HTTPS website. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.